Hello and what is going on YouTube, it's Runescape here, and this is episode 1 of me making 1 billion GP in Runescape 3 as quick as I can by doing Slayer and PVM. We're going to have tons of different content in here, every Slayer task you can imagine. It'll be a good way for you guys to figure out what tasks you should and shouldn't be doing for points, profit, XP, the lot. And it will also show you how much money you can expect to make. There also wasn't a better time to do this. ModPie has just released a ton of quality of life updates, and this video can kind of be like a spotlight video for this, which will just demonstrate the effectiveness of the new loot system and also the changes to Revolution that we'll talk about later on in the video. As always, check out the channel. We have tons of guides. If you want to make money, learn bosses, you name it, we're going to have a video for you, and there's going to be tons of content coming up. So hit the subscribe button if you want to stick around for the journey. Also, I want to give a big shout out to another YouTuber who goes by the name of Campii. If you're anything like me, you often find yourself with no videos to watch on Runescape because there's simply not enough content creators. And he has tons of useful guides that are friendly to new and existing players. He also has a few series on the go at the moment that are really entertaining. A nice fresh spin on the game, seeing it from a different perspective. So I'd heavily recommend checking him out. He's just been partnered, so go click on his videos and click on his ads. Give him some of that juicy ad revenue, and let's get into this episode. Okay, so the goal for this episode is basically going to be getting 1,000 Slayer points, so I can unlock the ability from the Slayer Masters to move my NPCs in my player-owned dungeon around. This will make it so that I can have my campii and add spiritual mages without having to constantly keep getting the souls again. I've had a look at their loot table, and I've seen that you could probably expect to get like 11 mil an hour completely AFK. And a lot of the reason people don't do these and they do spiritual warriors is because they're kind of aids to loot. But because of the new looting system, if you pair this with a lore hound, you can actually loot all 5 spiritual mages and make a ton of money, whilst being extremely AFK. They drop a ton of soul runes too, so if you're an Iron Man, this is going to be the best thing that you can have in your player-owned dungeon, because soul runes are really hard to come by, and you're going to want to stock up on them so you can make your vuln bombs and whatnot. This is also going to be part of my road to 1 bill from PVM and Slayer. I'm going to kick this first episode off with Slayer, because I want to make this video for the spiritual mages, so I want to get this done ASAP. I'm going to try and make sure that all of the future videos are live commentary as well. I've just had a bit of trouble figuring out how I want to record it and make it entertaining, but that will definitely be on the cards, and it's going to be good practice too. I also won't be showing you guys the loot tab. I'll show you the loot from each individual task and whatnot, but the loot tab I'm going to be revealing every 5 to 10 episodes. And to be fair, with the amount of money you can make with Slayer nowadays, it won't take too long to get 1 bill, especially if I have some bossing hours in there too. Obviously, I could just go camp 1 boss that will make a ton of money. I could sit at Barrow's Rise of the Six and have this done in like 2 days. But obviously that won't be engaging, so I'm going to try and mix it up and keep the content fresh. Another good thing about this series, I'm going to try and show you guys what tasks are worth doing and what aren't. A lot has changed, and the money per task is very different how it was a year ago, for example. I was also kind of hoping that the update would have been made to Moss Columns on Monday. It was planned to make it so that they can drop Grim pages, and I wanted to show you guys how common they were, do a loot video and whatnot. We actually have a guide for Moss Columns in the works. We're going to try and get that out to you. It's insane money right now. You can make, I'm pretty sure it's around 40 mil plus an hour, just killing a Slayer creature, which is absolutely absurd. Another one of the big updates that ModPie added, it was basically buffing Revolution. So there's been huge buffs to Slayer all across the board really, because with Revolution now, when you have your loot interface open, you auto-retaliate, whereas before you had to close the interface or manually click. You don't have to do that anymore, so literally every Slayer task you're on, you're going to want that loot interface open, and you can just select what you want and what you don't. And also they've changed it so that Revolution's just more responsive. Like when you're AFKing with aggression potions, previously when you were tagging other enemies, it would take a long time to attack and you'll be losing ticks constantly. And I've found that since this update, you can get straight on to the next enemy as soon as they hit you. It's very responsive, almost as responsive as clicking them yourself. So that's going to increase XP and GP rates across the board. Another great buff that they've added to Revolution 2 is changing how channeled abilities work. Basically before, every time you used a channeled ability such as Snipe, Rapid Fire, Asphyxiate, Destroy, Assault, anything that's channeled, it would pulls you after the channeled and there will be a delay, which is really annoying. You basically got punished for using pretty strong abilities at that. Whereas now, after a channel's used, you'll instantly start attacking again. I have found though that if an enemy dies on the channeled, so let's say they die to a rapid, your auto-retaliate onto the next will be stalled. I think this is still part of the problem, but it's still a great leap into the right direction. For those of you curious, there's also been a ton of fixes to bugs in the game. For example, they've changed the needle strike bug, which was basically where you were getting a 7% buff for longer than you were supposed to. They've also made it so that you can't free tick snipe anymore, which I know a lot of people have already adjusted to this change, but you're no longer going to be able to do that. It's going to be 4 ticks no matter what you do now. And a really nice change is the change to the crackling perk. Before, crackling used to just go off sporadically, and like the amount of times you'd be webbed by a Raxor or be at Virago and get reflected and the crackling would go off, basically just wipe you out, instantly KOing you if the reflect damage was high enough. Now it's a lot more predictable. Basically you have 2 cooldowns on your buff bar. One of them's a debuff, one of them's a buff. The debuff will show you how long until you can use it, and then when it's available it will be on your buff bar, and your next attack that deals damage will then trigger the crackling, so you can control it a lot more, which will hopefully save a lot of lives at bosses like a Raxor. This new looting update has actually made like previous tasks that were relatively difficult to survive, so like the Legacy Nightmares that's in the background, or Ripper Demons. Basically every time you're in Legacy, if you opened your loot interface, you had to manually click on them, and I can't tell you how many times I've died just because I forgot to click back and I'm not attacking them. Whereas now you can have the loot interface open the whole time and just honestly kill them so easily. Like, it's ridiculously AFK now. Like, it's probably going to be one of the best ult accounts in the game if you make a Nightmare ult. If you guys are unaware of the method that I'm using to kill these, basically you barrage them on Legacy, which will sustain your health, and you can target so many at a time. It's not as efficient as using full manual and being super sweaty, but this is really AFK. And if you guys do want a full guide where we go in depth with every single detail you need, then check out our video on our channel. We didn't have any luck this time getting Nightmare Gauntlets. We're actually due a set, but that's where you're going to be making the bulk of your money. So as soon as we get one of them, we're literally 1/10 of the way through the series already, which is insane. I also forgot how great the Sophonim Slayer dungeon was. Like, the tasks are all extremely AFK and the loot is crazy. Like, I've been killing the Crocodile Elks and the Corrupted Workers on task, and basically with this new loot interface, I don't even let the chest automatically collect it. I'd rather have the 20% chance for the loot to double, and with the Vital Sparks, you make a ton. Like, I made 7.5 mil in a 10-minute Corrupted Workers task in this video. And man, even the tasks where you ain't making that much money from keys and Vital Sparks, you're still going to get 4 mil in a really short amount of time. It's AFK, the XP is great, and if you did feel like bossing, Magister is insane money right now. There was also a ton of just quick tasks in this video. Like, for example, the special task from Lanakea, where you just have to kill one of each of the plants on the Anachronia. And this just gives you quick Slayer points. Same with Mithril Dragons, Steel Dragons. I've also found that when killing Mithril and Steel Dragons, if you select your Spring Cleaner to just automatically disassemble the bars that they used to drop, I think they're just salvage now. You get a ton of deflecting components, which is always nice. It saves you time for when you need to get them in the future, and it also saves you money, so that's great. Might be an unpopular opinion, but I actually love where Slayer is at the moment. I can't wait for them to add more mobs, but at the same time, the fact that when I get the choice to pick whatever task I want, I have to think about it is great, because there's so many tasks that I want to be doing at the moment. I'm sure I'll burn out eventually. Like, I've already done over 1,000 tasks, and I'm well over 120 Slayer at the moment, and I'm still actually enjoying it. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I genuinely think it's really fun, and with all these quality of life changes, it's probably worth going back if you slept on it before. Also, if you've done your archaeology, Slayer Introspection is amazing. It's an absolute must-have. You get a task that's quick, but you can't be bothered to skip it. Select the lowest amount and go do it. It's rapid, and if it's a task you like, pick the maximum number. You're going to be making more money, more XP, and having a lot more fun. Like, there are literally so many tasks at the moment that I want to do. Like Edamu, Nightmares, Wyverns, Soul Devourers, Corrupted Creatures, Moss Golems, Rippers, Dinosaurs. They're all amazing. Like, you can actually make bank doing these tasks. Some of them are even upwards of 30 to 40 mil an hour, which is insane for Slayer. One thing that I wish they would do though, I wish they'd just add a variety of the same mob to the game. I know that they're planning on adding new abyssal creatures, but like, if I get given Aerits, for example, I want the choice to do a mini boss, different variations of Aerits, and not just the same ones. Like, imagine how sick it would be if you got said, I want you to kill 100 Aerits. You get there and you have to actually make a decision what ones you want to kill. I feel like it would add so much depth to the skill in general. I feel like Lanakea's task list was a step in the right direction. Like, you get demons, you get to pick what demons you want. Just add more varieties of them into the game, and honestly, I feel like Slayer will be just as popular as PVM. The new mobs don't even need to drop new items. Just give them cool and interesting loot tables. Like, have one of them focus on farming supplies, one of them give you alks. Like, just have some variety in it, and it will honestly make it so much more fun. I want to make a video that compares the Firewatches doing melee versus mage, because when I'm hopping about, I see that everyone does melee, and I thought, why not try melee for this task? And Jesus Christ, how do people do this? It's so annoying. Like, literally, you'll be killing them, and your character just constantly runs around. Like, am I doing something wrong? I know people that camp these for months. Like, are you actually doing it like this? I must just be missing something. Finally, after a long day of Slayer, we've hit 1,000 Slayer points. This means that we can actually unlock the ability to freely move about our souls in our player-owned dungeon. Which, as I mentioned earlier, I want to do this so that I can make a spiritual mage's guide. And just from testing these for literally like 40 minutes, I can already tell you that these are going to be one of the greatest like AFK ults. Everyone's going to prefer doing their method that they used to, but I'd honestly recommend switching your spiritual warriors over to these. Like, honestly, if you swap over to these, you won't regret it. Like, you make so much money from alkaballs an hour, and then on top of that, you get tons of soul runes. Like, I'm pretty sure it's over 2,000 an hour when you're killing these with the setup I have. I'm going to keep doing some testing here and see how much money you can actually make and what's the optimal setup. And then I'm going to be bringing out a guide showing you everything you need to know. Let me know if you have any guide suggestions down below, like any mobs that you'd like to see in a player-owned dungeon. I know a lot of you are trying to find out what you should be killing in here, and I'm going to be making videos on everything that's popular, and then you can decide for yourself using the information I give you what you should be doing. But I can tell you now, these are going to be a strong contender up there with Capsarius. Like, the Capsarius are great, but as soon as Ascension crossbows go down, they take a massive hit too. And with these, like I said, you're getting soul runes, you're getting GP, you're getting components like Armadillo and whatnot, and Zamorak. You're also getting a ton of battle staffs that are noted, talismans and air orbs. And also they have a 1 in 500 drop chance of Serenic Scales, which, considering you can kill like 800 to 900 of these an hour, you're going to be getting like upwards of 1 mil an hour just from Serenic Scales. Okay, well, that's everything that I've got for you in this video. Sorry that it isn't in a live format and I've just commented over the clips, but I'm going to try and learn how to actually do that and which way I want to go about doing it. And hopefully the next episode will have that. If you have any methods that you'd like to see in this series, it could be bossing, skilling, slayer, whatever it is, leave it down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, drop a like and feel free to subscribe if you don't want to miss out on any of our future content. Thank you.